Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to another Smash Up expansion unboxing component video. This is for part 2 of the World Tour, The Culture Shock. So part 1, we went to some different areas of the globe. We had, Canada, Japan, France, and Mexico. Here, we're going to get a little bit wilder. Just to get some different areas. This is some really interesting set here. I can't wait to go over this one. But if you haven't played Smash Up and it's maybe your first video, definitely check out the other ones. Base set game will have a little bit better description. But the quick overall is you take two factions, two different decks, slam them together and make a 40 card deck like Grim Voyagers. So you're smashing up two different groups. You're going to play your minions, your actions on the bases to score victory points. You hit 15, you win the game. You can pick up any expansion and play it without having to go buy the base set. Just like the less each expansion box set generally has 4 decks, so you're only able to play a 1 versus 1 game, 2 players. But if you pick up more expansion, you can start mixing and matching. Each deck's going to come with VP tokens. I just don't have the physical tokens out with me. It's some spider webs and some roses, which are really neat. So you can just use them to keep track. And they're always mix and match. I'm going to go through the deck. Here's all the rules. Just going to explain some different effects of stuff. Some clarification on some specific cards. And we're going to get into the teams. Another unique thing about this is we actually get 5 factions instead of 4 like normal box sets. The only other time this happened was the It's Your Fault set, which they had a hidden one. This set they didn't hide it. But I also think it's because they have they're a little bit more lesser knowing things. So that's why I think they gave us an extra one, which I'm definitely not complaining. I do like this one. It says, just to point this out, counting all the Smash sets up to this set, which there actually might have more than what's out there. There's actually more than what's currently at this set. Some more stuff came out. But there are 2,700 possible combinations. So that's crazy. So we're going to have the Anasazi Tales from West Africa, which have to do with the Anasazi spider. I don't usually read any of this stuff much more than that, but give a little backstory. We have the ancient Incas, so we're gonna get some of those. We're gonna have Grimm's fairy tales, which are from Germany, stuff like Hansel and Gretel and some other things like that. The Polynesian Warriors from the islanders of the Pacific Ocean, and finally some Russian fairy tales, like Baba Yaga. So that'll be interesting. So it'll actually be kind of like the second Russian set, because you also have the Bear Cavalry from the first set. But we're going to get to some interesting different types of characters in here. So let's hop in and see what we got. We'll start with Grimm Fairy Tales, because they're probably the one most people will be more known or familiar with. So people are going to know some of these. So we're going to have Hansel. So he's a 2-cost minion, or a 2-power minion. Ongoing. This minion has +2 power if Gretel is here. So if we play Gretel, she's going to have +2 if this power of Hansel is here. So they're going to work out really well together. We have the other Snow White, meaning it's +2 power if Rose Red is here. And then we have Rose Red, it's +2 if the other Snow White is here. And they list other Snow White because there's Snow White in the pretty pink, pretty Smash Up set with the princesses. We're going to get Red Riding Hood. Ongoing, if the minion Big Bad Wolf is not in play, each one of your minions here has +1 power. Got Rumpelstiltskin. And I like this is all these different characters versus a bunch of the same ones. Search your deck for a card and place it on top of your deck. The Frog Prince. Ongoing. After you play another minion here, you may shuffle this minion into your deck to play a minion from your discard pile. Here's an extra minion. And then, of course, we have the Charming Princess, who kisses the Frog Prince. If Prince Charming is here, playing extra minion. And then we have Prince Charming, of course. If Charming Princess is here, you can play an extra action. So those guys work together. One gets an extra minion, one gets an extra action. And of course, we have the Big Bad Wolf. If the minion Red Riding Hood isn't in play, you may destroy a minion here of 4 power or less. Ongoing. After the minion is destroyed, play another minion from your discard pile as an extra minion. So it's kind of neat. Hansel and Gretel work together to gain bonuses from each other. So they're each going to give each other extra 2 power. Same thing with Rose Red and the other Snow White. Red Riding Hood and the Big Bad Wolf gain actually bonuses if the other one's not in play, which is kind of interesting. And then the Prince Charming Princess get extra actions or minions if they're there, and then the Frog kind of works with them. Because if you have him out and you play one of them, you can find one of the other cards you need. So he helps get the other guy. And then Rumpelstiltskin just kind of like also lets you help find stuff. So it's kind of neat. All the minions sort of work in tandem with each other. And then they have some cards that help find them. So let's look at our actions. We're going to have the Fairy Godmother's Blessing. Search your deck for a minion and place it on top of your deck. The Woodsman's Axe. Destroying action played on a base. Destroying action played on a base to play an extra action. Or destroy the minion Big Bad Wolf to search your deck for a minion and play on the same base as the extra minions. You can kill the wolf to get one of the other guys you need. Another story. Shuffle up to 3 cards from your discard pile into your deck. So again, reusing them characters. We have some breadcrumbs. Move up to 2 minions from one base to another base. Another odd story would be the Mouse, Bird, and the Sausage. Choose up to 2 minions of the same faction at a base to gain +2 power till the end of turn. The Basket of Goodies from Red Riding Hood. Search your deck for an action. Place it on top of your deck. And we have 2 copies of Teamwork. Choose a minion in play. Search your hand, deck, or discard pile for a minion whose name appears in the ability on the chosen minion. Place it in your hand or place it as an extra minion. So you can find the other one you need. And then finally we have 2 copies of Grimm's Blessing. Play on a base. If you have 2 or more minions here, treat this card as if it also has the names of every minion you own. Using those abilities does not count against using it as any minion's ability. Oh, so that's neat. So if you have 2 minions here, you can then treat it as, like, Hanzo. If you have Hanzo out, you can treat it as also as being Gretel, so you can gain that bonus. And, oh, that's cool. Double up my extra effects. This is a really neat idea. Like, I don't know how well it's going to match with some other decks, because it's all about getting these specific cards out. But it's a really neat mechanic. I was trying to think of, like, card that has another character's card in its name. And the only other set I can think of right now off the top of my head that has another card name in it was Magical Girls set from Big in Japan. I can't think of any other one that specifically names another card that's not a Titan, because it wouldn't work on a Titan because the Titans aren't considered cards. But that's definitely could be an interesting mechanic that could be played on later with other cards. Woodland Cottage. Once per turn after you play a minion here, search your deck for a minion of 3 power or less and play it in your hand. And Gingerbread House. Before this base scores, each player may choose 2 of their minions here with the same name, the same power to gain +2 till the end of turn. Nice. Awesome. Yeah, that's an interesting concept for a deck. I would love to see that revisited, or more things like that. So as long as we're doing tails, let's do the Anasazi tails. I'll make sure I'm calling my things correct. Oh, you're also going to get deck dividers. I didn't show any of these off. You're going to get deck dividers with all the sets now. So then when you play them with their thing, they're going to fit nicely in your storage boxes if you buy them. So every set that comes out, well, it also says what set it comes from, which is really cool. So the Anasazi tails. So these are from West Africa, about the Anasazi spider. So let's look at what we have here. We have the Marlborough Hornet. We have 4 copies of that. And you might even know some of these stories and just not realize it. Special. After another player plays or discards a card they don't own from a hand or deck, you may play this minion as an extra minion. We have Aki the Turtle, or Aki the Turtle, maybe. You may place a card from your hand in another player's hand to draw 2 cards. Ooh, so this one, you gain bonus from giving away your cards. So sort of like the Ignobles did this. Another set did this as well. So that'd be kind of interesting. We have Onini the Python. Ongoing. After another player plays or discards a card they don't own from a hand or deck, place +1 power counter on this minion. Abiso the Leopard. After you place a card in another player's hand, place +1 power counter on this minion. And then finally we have Anasazi the Spider. Talent. Search your deck for a standard action and play it. A standard action is a card that says do this thing, play it, not play it on a minion or play it on a base. So something that affects something then goes away. That's a standard action. Then play as an extra action. Then place it into another player's hand instead of where it would normally go. You cannot play any copy of an action that turn. Interesting. Anasazi is like a trickster spider. So this is kind of like you're giving your opponent cards, but then you're gaining bonuses from them. So it's kind of what their actions are. A Pot of Wisdom. Draw a card for each other player. Then place a card from your hand in each other player's hand. Play an extra action. Ear of Corn. Shuffle up to 3 actions from your discard pile into your deck. Then play an extra action. Place this card into another player's hand. 2 copies of Collecting Stories. Look at another player's hand. You may play a card you own from their hand as an extra card. That's actually kind of neat, because you can play one of your cards you gave them, or you can steal one of their cool cards. We have a Pot of Beans, 2 copies. Place 2 +1 counters on total minions. Place this card into another player's hand. The Perfect Gift. Search your deck for a standard action. Play it as an extra action. Then place it into another player's hand where it would normally go. Let it be full and eat. Draw 2 cards, then place this card into another player's hand. Feathered Gifts. Move one of your minions to another base. Place this card into another player's hand. Trading Stories. You may place up to 3 cards from your hand into another player's hand. For each one placed, draw a card. So almost all their cards let you transfer stuff to other players' hands. I'm thinking one other benefit of this is that you can only have, I believe you can only have 5 cards in your hand. Just double checking the rules on that. Oh, you can have 10 cards in your hand. Okay, just the maximum number of cards you can have in your hand is 10. If you have more than 10 cards, discard down to 10. Down to 10. So, that might be like an odd advantage of this, is if you fill up your opponent's hand with your cards, that they're not going to be able to play their own cards. So that's an odd way to go about it. I don't know how it's going to really help you in a victory, but it could definitely maybe slow down their strategy, because then they have to play your cards. So you have Storyteller's Hut. On your turn, you may play an extra action to place a counter on this card. This base's breakpoint is reduced by 2 for each of those counters. And I like that it's you may play an extra action. And then Anastasi's Web. If you have a minion here after the first time, each turn you play a standard action, you may place it into another player's hand instead of the discard pile to draw 2 cards. Alright, so that is those. So let's do some more tales. So we got Russian fairy tales. So we're going to have the Tsar Eagle. 2 copies of him. Draw or place a minion from another player's discard pile on top of their deck. Interesting. The Grey Wolf. Talent, places minion on top of its owner's deck to play an extra minion here and place a +1 power counter on it. Foolish Magician. Draw 3 cards and then place 3 cards from your hand or the top or bottom of your deck back in any order. Nice, you know, like reshuffle. Alright, then we have a Toad. Which is 0. You may give control of this minion to another player to shuffle one of their minions here into its owner's deck. And it doesn't help them at all, so that's kind of nice. We have the Birch Woman. Ongoing. After this minion goes to the discard pile from play, you may search your hand, deck, and or discard pile for the Birch. Add it to your hand or play it as an extra minion. Ooh, this should work with Grim Fairy Tales for finding a card that has a name in it. Unless it's like a minion, because I'm guessing the Birch isn't a minion. Yeah, make sure you find the Birch. Alright, we'll see what that does when we get there. We have Phineas the Falcon. Special, before base is scored, you may move this minion to there, or return this minion from there to your hand to play another minion to play on another base as an extra minion. And then finally we have Baba Yaga. Place another minion here at the bottom. Place another minion here on the bottom of its owner's deck to have them play a minion off the top of their deck as an extra minion, then shuffle their deck. Okay, so get rid of one of their current minions, and then they get to play a random, essentially another minion. Yeah, it does have some deck manipulation. Otherwise, I didn't really see a clear theme in there yet, but maybe their actions will tell different. So we have the Frog Princess. Play on one of your minions. Talent. Place this minion on the bottom of its owner's deck. If you play a minion off the top of your deck, here's an extra minion. Transfer this action to it, then shuffle. Place this minion on the bottom of its owner's deck. Oh, play on one of your minions, then play this minion. And you can use the ability to place this minion, and then add this to that card. Okay, I got it. We have the Water of Life, 2 copies. Place a minion from your discard pile on top of your deck. You may play an extra action. So a lot of deck swapping, deck manipulation. We have Transformation, 2 copies of that. Place a minion on the bottom of its owner's deck to have them play a minion off the top of their deck as your extra minion and shuffle their deck. Bewitched, which is fighting Anubis. Play on a minion. This minion is +2 power. If this minion leaves play, transfer the action to another minion. Ooh, that's powerful. Go See My Sister. Play on a base. Ongoing. After you play or move one of your minions here, you may draw a card. I Know Not Whether. Choose a base. Shuffle a random minion there controlled by each other player into its owner's deck. Fetch I Know Not What. Reveal cards from your deck until you reveal 2 actions. You may place any number of these actions into your hand. Shuffle the rest into your deck. And our final one is Mass Transformation. Each player places their hand at the bottom of their deck and draws an equal number of cards. This is all about deck manipulation. Very different. We have a giant turnip. This base's breakpoint is reduced by 1 for each minion on it. And Transformation Spring. Once during your turn, after you play a minion here, you may place it on the bottom of its owner's deck to play a minion off the top of your deck as an extra minion. The digging through your deck thing is actually really cool. The penguins also did that. But then this one also has the extra bonus of you just search through and like draw cards. You put cards back on the top or bottom of your deck. So when you're doing that drawing through your deck, you don't know what you're gonna have left. But then you can go through and re-manipulate it. Alright, so now we're going to do some Ancient Incas. So we got 4 copies of the llama. You may return one of your actions played to another base to your hand and play it as an extra action. The Incan Engineer, 3 copies. Reveal a card from the top of your deck into reveal an action that can be played on a base. Add it to your hand, shuffle the rest into your deck. Child of the Sun, 2 copies. Ongoing. After the first time you play an action on this base, you may play an extra action. These are all about playing actions. And Sapa Inca. Search your deck and your discard pile for an action that can be played on a base. Add it to your hand. After you play an action on a base, place a +1 power counter on one of your minions there. So we're going to have some fun actions, because that's what this deck looks like it's all about. So we have Sign in the Stars. Play on a base. Ongoing. Turn the top card of the base deck face up. While the top base is face up, this base also has its abilities. At the start of each player's turn, they may turn the top card face down until the end of turn. Talent. Place the top card of the base deck on the bottom of the deck. Oh, that's definitely neat. I like when they kind of mess with that base deck. And then the Explorers could also be dealing with that if you played them. That'd be kind of cool. Temple of the Sun. Play on a base. Draw a card. After you play another action card on this base, draw a card. 2 copies of Fortress Wall. So they're going to play cards on bases. That's their goal. They're building defenses. Playing a base. +1 power counter on one of your minions here. Ongoing. After you play another action on this base, you may place a +1 power counter on one of your minions here. Then we got the 2 copies of the Armory. Playing a base. Ongoing, you have +2 power here for each of your other actions on this base. We have the Royal Highway. Playing a base, you may move one of your minions to or from here. Ongoing, after you play an action on another base, you may move one of your minions from here to there or from there to here. The Golden Condor. Return any number of your actions on bases to your hand. You must play each of them as extra actions. That's kind of neat. If a base is about to score, you could pull all your actions off and then you could play them, distribute to other bases. Ashlar Masonry. Special. Play after a base scores. You may return one of your actions to that base to your hand. Shuffle the rest of them into your deck instead of your discard pile. And our final one is Kwapu Strings. Choose an action that in your discard pile can be played on a base. Play as an extra action. So they're taking control of bases. We have Cusco. This base's breakpoint is reduced by 3 for each action on it. And Machu Picchu. After you play an action on this base, draw a card. That is an interesting faction. I like God dominate bases. We like other ones like that, but what's one more? I like it. And our final one is the Polynesian Warriors. I say for last because people will think of it as Moana, which is what we have first. Moai. So we have 3 or 4 copies of this ongoing. Other players cannot move their minions to this base, or move their minions to this base, or move this minion to another base. So it holds them in place. We have 3 copies of Tiki. It says ongoing. If this minion has an action on it, it has +2 power. So it's going to boost up these guys specifically. Here we have the Wayfinder. Talent. Move this minion to a base where you have no minions to play. You place a +1 counter on it, so they can move around. These guys have a little bit oddball effects right now. And we have Maui. Play up to 2 bases from the top of the base deck. Talent. Move one of your minions to a base where you have no minions. Oh, so this is going to add extra bases out there. Interesting. Alright, what do we got here? We have an Ocean Tattoo. It says, play one of your minions at a base with no other player's minions. Talent, move this minion to another base to place a +1 counter on it. So these guys are exploring, is what it looks like. We have a Sun Tattoo. We have 2 copies of that. Play on one of your minions. This minion has +2 power. Special. After base scores, you may play this card on one of your minions there with no actions to move it to another base instead of the discard pile. You got 2 copies of a Shark Tattoo. Play on one of your minions. Place a +1 power counter on it. At the start of your turn, if this is your only minion here, place a +1 counter on it. So when they're by themselves, at least initially, they gain an extra bonus. Volcanic Uprising. Play the top card of the base deck, and you may move one of your minions to it, or destroy a base with no player's minions on it and replace it with 2 bases. We have the Unity of the Tribe. Choose a base where you have a minion, gain +2 if there are +2 power for therefore each base where you have at least 1 minion until the end of turn. Tattoo Artist. Search your deck and your discard pile for an action that can be played on a minion. Place it in your hand or play it as an extra action. One of the penguins. Growth of Tribes. Choose a base where you have no minions. Play an extra minion there immediately or move one of your minions to there. Knowledge of the Tribe. What the heck did that get in there? Draw a card for each base where you have a minion. You know, you have to play these extra bases. This could definitely be very, go destroy stuff very quick. I just want to see if they have the, ruling on this card. Nope, didn't say anything about extra bases. I was just kind of curious. Yeah, there's something about playing all these extra bases because it's going to make a difference. But I guess not. Alright. Because that means you might have like 5-6 bases out, potentially. Alright, so we're also going to get bases. This is also a little bit neat with this one. We have Island Chain. After this base scores, replace it with 2 bases instead of 1. Island Peak. At the start of your turn, if you have exactly one minion here, place a +1 counter on it. We also get a third one for them called Tropical Paradise. If each player has one or more minion on their space, its starting breakpoint is 0. So if everyone plays one, it breaks immediately. Interesting. Oops, I want to throw them on this pile. So that is our final faction for the World Tour Culture Shock. As of this video, this is the last big box expansion. They're releasing some small ones. And they have some other side ones, like other versions of Smash Up, because they have like Munchkin and Marble as well. And whether they expand on them, we'll see. But hopefully they keep releasing more big box sets like these, because they're really fun. And there's, I think, a lot of stuff they can do. Alright, so that's what I got for this one. See you guys later. Bye. Alright, so here we have the Birch, which is a minion. I thought it was going to be an action card. So it actually would work with that Grim Fairy Tale card. So ongoing, at the start of your turn, you may destroy this minion to search your hand, deck, or discard pile for the Birch Woman, add it to your hand, or play it there as an extra minion. So each one can destroy itself to find the other one, which is very interesting. So what was her? She was a... So after this minion goes to discard pile for play, you may search your hand, deck, or discard pile for the Birch. Okay, so you play her if she dies, so or gets her space scores wherever she goes there. You find the Birch and you play it. But then on your turn, you may destroy it to go find her and put her back in there. So it's kind of a neat round-robin effect with those guys.